Okay, so moving on to the Q&A session. I've got a couple of questions from people. The first one is a friend of mine, and he wants to know what's above your bed?
What's above my bed?
Yeah, behind you.
The picture on the wall?
No, there's something hanging from the ceiling.
Oh,
And he said
that's
it looks like a clown.
it is a clown. The last day that I worked and I retired from Walmart and I had worked there 11 years. I came out of retirement and went to work at Walmart, asked to give me my house and have something to do. And I worked at the door greeting people. And right inside the door in an alcove were a lot of vending machines. And they had these little stuffed animals, rabbits and koalas and the clowns and what have you. And this gentleman, he knew it was my last day and he won a clown. And he walked over and said, Ted, we're going to miss you. Here's a gift.
He gave
And
it
I
to you.
brought it home and I hung it up on the little chain on my ceiling fan. And it's been hanging there to remind me of those days. Also, I have a dream catcher up there,
Yeah.
and that's from yeah, I belong to a Native American community, and because I have Native American blood ancestors, and they gave me a dream catcher, and I hung it up there as well.
Right.
So
Uh,
that's it.
Okay. Do you not think it's a bit odd hanging a clown from your ceiling?
Well,
I think that would
well,
terrify people.
I can always take it down if it bothers people.
All right. So the next question is from Donna307. Okay. She said, I
Okay.
wanted to ask Ted if he can answer. Someone on another video had said that long ago, Ted was communicating with his dead mother or dead grandmother for 26 years, and they showed up out of character, which led him to believe he was never communicating with his dead mom and grandmother to begin with. And it was nothing more than an imposter. Is this true? Okay. And then she says, because I have a similar experience with an entity from beyond the grave claiming to be my mother. They are tricksters. One needs to learn discernment. So, do you know what she's talking about?
Well, nothing in particular. However, years ago, before I realized there were aliens in my life, uh, I thought that I communicated because I had learned to do this. I had communicated with deceased people. Uh, I learned to do this through the National Spiritualist Association of Churches out of Casadega, Florida. And so I thought back in those days that I was communicating with family members that had passed on, friends that had passed on, and then when I did psychic readings for people, I would deliver messages from beyond the grave to those people. So yes, I did those things and thought that what I was doing was accurate. However, when I met Barbara Barthlick, the regressionist, and I started doing regression work with her, the very first session that we had, I saw the manipulation and deception in this, and that was the day that I stopped doing metaphysical psychic work because I saw truly the manipulation and deception behind it. And you can, if you see your dead mother, maybe it is your dead mother, and it may be a deceptive demon posing as your mother.
How can you tell the difference?
Well, the Bible says test the spirit. So if I see an entity like that and they're trying to tell me something, I listen to what they say and I look at the quality of the message they sent, and is it something good or is it something negative?
Right.
Uh, the demon will hang in there and fool you for years with positive messages, only to capture you at some point, and you become their property, more or less.
Right.
So the best thing to do is like with the Ouija board. The best thing to do is not do it.
I remember there was in your book there was a guy called Volmo
Right.
who was claiming to be your spirit guide, and he was appearing to you for years, wasn't he?
It was. It
And
was.
in the end, you figured out Volmo wasn't
Yeah.
everything he seemed.
No, I have seen a picture of that species in a book that I found. Someone told me to get this book, and I did, and it had all kinds of alien entities in there and photos of them. And I picked out the one that looked just like Valmo, and but I had already realized that it was a demon.
Right.
Yeah, I had
I
a,
don't suppose you remember what the name of
so
that
I
book was.
stopped communicating, and you know, through prayer, a lot of prayer work, I got rid of the I got rid of him.
Do you remember what the name of that book was?
Uh, no, I can
It was so long ago.
if you want to pause this for just a minute, I'll see if I can find it right quick.
All right. Okay, hang on, folks.
All
We
right,
are gonna pause. Just 2 seconds.
okay,
And we're back. Okay, so
okay.
Ted has found the book.
Can you
The Extraterrestrial Species Almanac.
and this is very good with the photos they have of the different species of the aliens. Uh, everything that I have seen over the years is in here. Even even the species that I would identify as Maya.
Okay. And who's the author?
Uh, Craig Camp Campobasso.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Now I found right quick. This is Valmo.
All right. Just take it back a little bit so the light can get it. Okay. That really looks like a reptilian.
Well, it is. It says he's a draconian male.
Okay. Now, obviously, when he was appearing to you, it wasn't in like that.
Yes, it was.
Was he not wearing a sombrero?
No, that was a different entity
Oh,
completely.
right.
That
So
was
when
that
oh,
was uh that was the Latino spirit who led me to go west to New Mexico and then on to later to Amarillo, Texas. And then from there, a few years later, to Shreveport, Louisiana. Uh, but see, I had developed a friendship with several Latinos, and somehow it all came together that I ended up in Albuquerque, New Mexico for a few years, and uh, learned to speak Spanish fairly well while I was there. And then they kept leading me on to these other places. But then once I started the work with Carla and Barbara, and I broke through and I saw the deception, it broke that control they had over me, because I realized it wasn't me that just wanted to make these changes in my life. I was being directed to these places because I was learning things to tell you people now, because it was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that I had the experience where I was taken into the tunnels in the Sandia Mountains, through tunnels all the way to Dulce, New Mexico, and what I saw there was earth shattering.
yeah.
Uh, we those of you who've listened to podcasts, you know what I'm talking about. And then from there, the underground tunnels, they carried me all the way to what I believe was Area 51.
Right. So just remind me again, what was Volmo's involvement with you? What was he up to?
Okay, I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and I was working with the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, and we were communicating with the deceased entities, and so uh, I wasn't the first person to see Volmo. A couple of people in the group and during meditation saw him and described him and said he was with me and that he he was a deceased entity from some he had told them he was a deceased entity from some other planet and that he had gotten lost and he was trapped here on the earth plane and that he had chosen me to help lead him to find his way back. And it was all deception. But at the time, we didn't know that. And so we all as a group just ate it up. We thought, oh, how cool is this? You know, but now looking back, hey, I know exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
But I had I had an experience there in Atlanta when I was living in an apartment in Riverdale, Georgia, which was a suburban community to Atlanta. And this was witnessed by a police officer during the night in which a UFO hovered over my apartment. And it was Valma who came in that fog and
Yeah.
touched me with the wand and knocked me unconscious. And we have a policeman. And the reason I know is a witness because I was doing a live radio on public broadcasting there in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I was talking about that event. And we got a phone call to interrupt the program, and it was a policeman who happened to be listening to this program. And he wanted me to know that he witnessed that
Yeah.
happened. He saw the UFO hovering over those apartments, pulled over to the side of the road with his fellow officer in the vehicle with him, and they watched what happened.
Yeah. Okay. So Donna 307, hopefully that answers your question. Test
Oh,
the
no,
spirit.
well, let me say, Donna 307, thank you for asking those questions. Trust me when I tell you, don't try to communicate. If you want to know anything about your deceased relative, they will be there on the other side, the real ones, when you pass over someday. But let's, in all safety for us, leave the deceased world where it is. And let's not try to communicate. I just don't encourage that at all because that is a playground for these demons.
Yeah.
And we don't know it, and we're tricked and we're deceived.
Okay.